So before I bring up my next guest, we've had such an awesome time, and I've saved this person for this time to share this because you know what bothers me? People say there's no such thing as a free lunch. And I say, that's a lie. I get free lunches. Sometimes I just buy my team chicken noodle soup at Dental Nachos. It's free. They got a free lunch. The other statement, can you make money for doing nothing? The answer to that is 100% yes. So I'm ready for my next guest to share with us a classic way, a tale as old as dentisting time you can bring up, is how you can make money for literally doing nothing. So this is your first time on, Jim. So share with us your name, who you work for, and how you help dentists make money for literally doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm Jim Belshe. I'm with Core Scientific Precious Metal Refinery. So we're a big, stinky refinery in Chicago. And what we do is we process the dentist scrap and send checks in the mail. That's basically how we.
Hold on, this sounds so. What does this cost the dentist?
Well, we charge a 5% processing fee, which is standard in our industry, but most people don't know it. I mean, 95% of the dentists that are out there, what they're doing is some guy comes into the office and he waves a bunch of cash around and pays $200 to $500 for whatever you have in the jar and leaves. And then what you don't realize is he sells it to us, directly. That cash person, they'll come to an actual refinery and not a refining company, not a jeweler. He'll take that and he'll sell it to a refinery. We're the end stop. We take the material, we break it down into its pure form, and we sell it onto the market. And so that's what that person is doing. And by the way, they're paying you about 10% of what it's worth. So typically those little jars that are in the office, about a half of one of our size jars is, a couple $1,000. And those full jars can be worth anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000, just depending on the material. I had a jar that was about 3/4 full last week that was around $6,000. So
I love this because I don't even know, it's very expensive to run a dental practice. So when we can get some wins for ourselves from the PFMs, what can go in there? PFM, Gold Crown.
And that's a great question. I was at a small little study club the other day, and this doctor said, I haven't seen metal in years. And I said, when's the last time you removed a PFM? And he said, today. And I said, what'd you do with it? Threw it in the red bag waste, right? And those PFMs, most of them are made with a palladium alloy, and palladium is worth more than gold. That's why people are stealing.
So you got to talk dentists though, Jim. Next time they do that, say, you just threw away your free sandwich at lunch, because dentists love free. And they go, oh man, I'm not going to throw away my free sandwich. So that's what they did. I mean, that was the free lunch he just tossed in the red bag, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and that happens all the time. So there's, you'd be surprised at how often offices are just saving the gold crowns and not the PFMs. I'll get calls from doctors. I'll go and, when I see their material come in, it'll be a quarter jar of nothing but gold. And so the first call I make to them is, hey, why aren't you saving your PFMs? And that when I talk about the value of a jar, that's no gold crowns in there. If that's just PFMs. It's super valuable, and dentists really need to save those.
Awesome. Well, there's, in a way that now, some dentists, they like making money. And by some dentists, I mean every single dentist. But then other people, they like this other thing. And I think it is cool. What do you guys do? What's the feel-good factor for doing this, right? What's the environmental factor where you go, okay, I also want Earth to be around for my kids. So what's the feel-good factor?
Yeah, just Google what a gold mine looks like. Google what a mining operation does, particularly in Africa or South America, where a lot of these operations are. It's just a nasty, destructive business. And so it really, they call it precious metal for a reason. If you see the destruction that happens just to mine a few ounces of gold. I don't know if you've watched Gold Rush on TV. That's a great example. You can watch all this stuff that these guys tear up just to get, a little bit of gold in their jar. And so that's really what we want to do. We want to save the environment and bring this. And not only that, you think of all the fuel that's expended and everything that goes into, that production. that's what we want to.
I love that. Here's your tagline: free fancy sandwiches and saving the environment. Text scrap to 215-543-6454. And then, in all joking aside, I remember I worked with my dad for many years, even before I was a dentist, sadly passed away a few years ago. But I remember, him saving the stuff, getting a couple $100, it always being a thing. Maybe you have a staff team party, but, there's not that many little fun wins in dentistry. So just kind of saving stuff you cut out a patient's mouth. And now, I don't know if you're seeing this, but I really love implants, and implants are at the end of a dental life cycle of a lot of times these big crown and bridge cases. So could be cutting off many PFM crowns at times to transition them to implants.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, so a lot of places that specialize in that type of work have a ton of scrap for that very reason.
And that's also now, also the other thing is dentists know this, like we often will think we're going to maintain a tooth. We're not so sure. We do this, then we wind up cutting off the crown and do this. So there's just the cutting off of the existing dental work on the aging population is just a common theme in dentistry. And I'm glad you guys are getting people to get extra dollars for their practice, saving the environment. When they text us in, they just get a jar and they put out the jar. Is that as simple as the onboarding process goes?
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you're not saving it, we can send you a jar to save it in. You can really, some people save it in sterilization bags, throw it in a drawer. It's however you want to do it. We're a refinery. We're not going to dig through the stuff like your cash buyer does. So we don't care if it comes in, bloody in a jar. You should see some of the stuff people send to us. So that's the nice thing is you don't have to take a ton of time because you're just going to send that to us. But yeah, that's all there is to it. When they contact us, what we do is we email you a FedEx label. We actually will schedule FedEx to come into your office, pick it up. It sends it to our refinery, and then we send you a check. Now, a lot of dentists are doing little programs like you mentioned with your staff. And what my friend did, and this is what I recommend the dentist to do, is he went and asked his staff, how much did the cash guy pay you a year? And they would say, oh, we get about $300-400. So he says, great, I'm going to give you that $300-400, but you guys save this and I'm going to give it to my friend Jim. So he shipped it to me. He gave his staff the $400 and, unbeknownst to them, he got about $3,500.
Yeah, look at that.
They were happy. He was happy. He went to Spain on vacation and it was all welded in well. And so that's what I recommend. If you're doing a split with them, continue to do the split, but just pay them what they're used to, and then you can have that money and reinvest it in your practice. There's a ton of things.
I love it. Making people happy. Well, so glad to have you as a Nacho sponsor and community supporter. Thanks for being part of what we do, Jim. Really enjoyed talking with you today.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. So you see so many great toppings in our fun, fantastic Talking Nachos show. You could bring Jim down, and I'll just wrap us up here. So what we'll do next is I just want to bring up our Job Connect text code. I want to remind you guys, if this is the season to hire an associate for your practice to share in the joy of full contact arts and crafts, on people that don't want to be there, that's dentisting, text hire to 215-798-9897. Thanks for being with us.